500 Marines were facing certain death, so to save them, this Coast Guard member made the ultimate sacrifice. In 1942, World War II was raging around the world. The Pacific island of Guadalcanal was a particular hotspot. It was where the Japanese and the American soldiers were engaged in a fierce firefight. There were around 500 U.S. Marines trapped on the peninsula by the Japanese infantry. If a successful rescue mission were not put into place immediately, every Marine on the island would likely perish. Fortunately, a man from the U.S. Coast Guard had a plan, and he was sure that it would work. The man with the plan was Douglas A Munro. Munro was born in Vancouver, British Columbia in October 1919. After graduating high school, he went to the Central Washington College of Education. He was only there for a year before deciding to move to the next phase in his life. Douglas decided he wanted to enlist with the U.S. Coast Guard. His father was a captain in the Coast Guard Reserve, which is what helped influence his decision. Doug told his sister Patty that he joined the U.S. Coast Guard because he felt the need to rescue people. When Doug's training was over, he volunteered to serve on a cutter called the Spencer. He served on that ship until 1941. That was the year that everything changed for Americans. It was the year that Pearl Harbor was bombed. The United States was going to war with Japan and other Axis nations. During this time, a Douglas had climbed the ranks to the signalman 3rd class. It was his job to man the transport vessels. He also served beside sailors in the U.S. Navy. Because signalmen were in demand, Doug was sent to the Hunter Liggett in June 1941. The USS Hunter Liggett was a cargo ship. The War Department converted it and brought it back into service in 1939. In 1941, they handed it off to the Navy. Its role in the war was an attack transport vessel. In April 1941, it left New York for the Pacific. Doug's ship held 35 landing vessels, called Higgin boats. It also contained 2 amphibious crafts that could transport tanks to the shore. Since the Japanese were building an airfield in the Pacific island of Guadalcanal, they had to be stopped because this would give them the upper hand over the Americans. The Coast Guard had skills that were quite valuable to the Navy and Marine Corps. They were able to handle small crafts under challenging situations. They could easily take the landing crafts to the island where they were needed the most. Doug was given his mission September 27th, just a few weeks before his 23rd birthday. He had to transport 3 company submarines. The Marines were trapped on a ridge by the Japanese, and they wrote the word help in large letters. A pilot flying by saw the SOS message. It was up to Doug to get the craft back to the island to save those Marines. Doug and the craft were caught in hostile fire, but he did manage to get every Marine off that beach. Even the 25 who were wounded were still saved. Doug was a hero. Sadly, the Japanese were shooting at the craft and Doug was hit in the process. With his last breath, he asked, "Did we get them off?" When the Marine told him yes, he smiled and passed away. He is the true definition of a hero. For his bravery, he was awarded the Medal of Honor. He's the only member of the Coast Guard ever to be given a Medal of Honor. 500 Marines were facing certain death. This Coast Guard member, 22 years old, made the ultimate sacrifice to save them. He gave up his life to save the lives of 500 U.S. Marines. Douglas A. Munro, thank you for your service.